To use a couple of numbers to the point you were making this morning, the announcement this morning about bridge funding is the largest investment in bridges ever in our nation's history. And what's important about this is it's going to repair and upgrade 15,000 of the smaller bridges across the country. If you think about the economic interconnections in the country, the big bridges are, of course, important, and this bill has transformational investments here. What we're announcing today is those smaller interconnects that mean that goods can get to different parts of the country. We're rolling that out today. It's exciting. It's exciting, and obviously those investments will happen over the course of a couple of years. But by getting that going as quickly as we can here, we're going to start to make some progress on being able to move goods more cheaply and easily across the country.
It seems like the administration, given the job of putting the entire infrastructure plan to work, could have its work cut out for it already. Is there still an impetus, Brian, to go forward, with what we've heard from Senator Manchin and what we've seen with inflation? Do you still think Build Back Better should be a priority at this point as NEC director?
Absolutely. If we think about where we are economically, our focus is on the things that we can do to try to address the costs that American families are facing, and also to expand the productive capacity of the economy, to operate on the supply side, to get more people working, to move goods and services more quickly through the economy. We need to be able to build on what will be a historic year for economic growth in 2021, likely the strongest economic growth since the mid-1980s. And Build Back Better, it's not going to add to inflationary pressure. It won't add to aggregate demand. What it will do is it'll go at some of those costs, and those costs that families are facing that are most likely to keep them from working. So you think about childcare right now. We look at labor supply. It's on the minds of a lot of employers in this country. And in addition to immigration and the retirement issue, women are persistently not getting back into the workforce as quickly as we need them to, and a big pain point for that is the cost of childcare, the availability of childcare, the quality of childcare. We could take this common sense step, reduce the cost of childcare, just give families the confidence that they don't have to pay more than 7% of their income. That's a common sense thing to do. It'll be pro-work, get more people into the workforce, and it won't add to aggregate demand because it will be paid for over time.
Well, we can talk about where inflation arises and what's inflationary and what isn't. And some people argue that maybe it was the Federal Reserve. And we're hearing from Jay Powell and Lael Brainerd this week. But we are seeing numbers that are at we haven't seen in 10, 20 years for inflation. We saw another one this week. One of your former colleagues at Goldman, Curry. Jeff Curry, talking about a new bull market in commodities that's going to be years long. And I guess when I was asking about the political side of things, you've got a senator in Joe Manchin who's been talking about inflation the entire time as a reason for questioning when it was a $4 trillion or a $5 trillion bill. And you know where he stands, and he's been very, very clear where he stands. Don't you think he can say, and don't you think the people of West Virginia would say, what he has been warning about has been validated? Why keep trying to just ram this through when he obviously is probably not going to go for it and looks like he's been vindicated and validated? It just seems like maybe the president isn't always getting the best advice from those around him. And I think Joe Manchin actually said that it was the president's staff that he had a problem with at one point. Do you advise the president on these things, Brian?
I do, and I haven't ever worked for Goldman, but I appreciate the context. What I would say to that is Senator Manchin's a close partner. We work closely with him, and of course, I'm advising the president on this set of issues. And what we're advising him and what the president thinks is that the price increases right now are absolutely an issue. Absolutely an issue. They're affecting families where they are, but they're also affecting sentiment and the outlook, which is why our focus is on what we can do concretely to bring down those costs in the context of the Federal Reserve is moving and operating independently. The president is focused on getting quality candidates in chair there. But the focus here is on how can we actually practically address the costs that families are facing, while at the same time recognizing that we don't want to add to aggregate demand right now. We want to fully offset the cost of investments that we're making. And that's actually a plausible path that we have here if we focus on measures like childcare, health care, the cost of prescription drugs, lowering those costs and offsetting those across time. From an economic perspective, that actually is a way to not add to inflationary pressures, but actually expand our economy's productive capacity. I mean, what you and many others have talked about for years is we need to be more pro-growth, we need to get growth going, and we need to expand our economy's capacity to make goods, deliver services. The investments in the Build Back Better plan, if they're fully offset, will do exactly that.